Tom Hargrove had seen war up close. For 30 years, he served his country, crawling through bombed-out streets with shrapnel tearing at his side, staring down the barrels of enemy rifles, and watching brothers fall under the weight of the flag he carried. An IED took his leg, but it never touched his grit. Now retired in a quiet, suburban pocket called Willow Creek Estates, he lived modestly, growing peppers in his backyard, teaching neighborhood kids how to patch a tire or stitch a cut, and saluting the flagpole in his yard every dawn, even when his prosthetic leg screamed in protest. His service dog, Duke, never barked unless someone got too close to that flag. Tom wasn't loud about his past. His Bronze Star stayed in a drawer, and his house was tidy, unassuming. But trouble doesn't care about quiet lives, and it came knocking in the form of Linda Voss, the HOA president who wore pastel blazers like battle armor and wielded her clipboard like a guillotine. It started with a letter, crisp and official, slipped into Tom's mailbox. Violation notice, unauthorized flag display, and ramp obstruction. Action required. Tom laughed at first, thinking it was a mix-up. His wheelchair ramp, built by local Boy Scouts and stamped with county approval, was no eyesore. The flagpole, it had been there when he bought the place 15 years ago. But Linda, newly elected and drunk on power, didn't see a veteran's home. She saw a blemish on her vision of suburban perfection. One afternoon, her heels clicked up Tom's walkway like warning shots. "The ramp's not compliant with community aesthetics," she said, eyes skimming past his prosthetic without a flicker. "And that flagpole exceeds height limits." Tom folded his arms, Duke growling low behind him. "Same height as the one at the town hall," he said. Linda's smile tightened. "This isn't a town hall. This is Willow Creek." She tapped her clipboard. Page 12, subsection 3, all visible modifications must be pre-approved, and left without another word. What followed was a siege of petty tyranny, fines piled up daily, improper mailbox alignment, unauthorized vegetable garden, even non-neutral fence stain for the cedar finish that had been there a decade. Linda patrolled in her golf cart, a one-woman crusade, issuing citations while ignoring her own rules, her car parked in a fire lane, her porch lights glaring past curfew. Tom held firm. He'd faced worse than a suburban dictator. But Linda wasn't just petty, she was relentless. One morning before the sun had fully risen, a pounding shook Tom's door. He opened it to find two sheriff's deputies, flanked by Linda clutching her clipboard like a trophy. "Mr. Hargrove, per court order, you've got 48 hours to vacate," one deputy said. Tom blinked. "Vacate? For a ramp?" Linda's voice cut in, sharp as glass. "For repeated non-compliance and unpaid dues." Tom's jaw tightened. "I've paid my dues for years," she smirked. "Your property's been reassessed. Fines add up." The next hours blurred into chaos. Neighbors watched as Tom tried to carry a box of his medals, only to stumble on the steps, his prosthetic buckling. He hit the ground hard, wrist twisting, chest heaving. By nightfall, he was in the ER, sedated after a panic attack that left his hands shaking. Worse came later as he lay in a hospital bed, blood crusted on his brow. A nurse leaned in, voice soft. "They took your dog, sir. Animal control said he didn't have the right tags." Tom stared at the ceiling, silent. His ramp was gone, torn out by a contractor Linda hired. His flag lay crumpled in the dirt. Duke, his shadow through every dark day, was caged somewhere. The nurse asked if he wanted to call anyone. Tom's lips barely moved. "My daughter." He dialed Sarah, his voice a rasp. "They took it all, Sarah. The ramp, the flag, Duke." A pause stretched on the other end. Then a voice answered, calm as a blade. "I'm coming, Dad. I'm bringing everything." The line went dead. In that sterile room, Tom's mouth twitched. A faint smile. Linda thought she'd won, but she'd just lit a fuse. Sarah Hargrove wasn't just a daughter. She was a senior analyst at the Department of Defense, with clearance high enough to make generals sweat and a knack for turning chaos into checkmate. She'd brokered deals in war zones, rewritten protocols under fire, and now she was headed for Willow Creek, where a clipboard queen had no idea what was coming. Sarah landed at dawn, boots hitting the tarmac with purpose, a Pentagon badge clipped to her jacket. She didn't visit the hospital first. She went straight to Willow Creek, walking the streets like a general scouting a battlefield. She noted Linda's car parked illegally, a board member smoking under a no-smoking sign, and a dozen HOA signs breaking their own font rules. She didn't confront anyone. Sarah's style was surgical. She rented a house nearby, turned the living room into a war room, laptop humming, tablet synced, a secure line pinging a private satellite. She hacked into county records, pulled permits on Linda's house, and launched a drone no bigger than a sparrow, its lens catching Linda through her office blinds, ranting about that one-legged nuisance and his mangy dog. Sarah's eyebrow lifted. That clip alone could bury her, but then the drone zoomed in on a file. Hargrove removal plan. Frame by frame, Sarah read Linda's scheme. Fake violations, inflated fines, a months-long plot to force Tom out for neighborhood purity. But it wasn't just personal, it was a vendetta. By morning, Sarah struck. She called in a favor from a colonel, and two men in black suits walked into the HOA office, flashing federal IDs as property auditors. They copied Linda's emails, photographed files, and left her sweating. Sarah sent a 70-page dossier, drone footage, zoning violations, neighbor testimonies, to the Office of Civil Rights, Veterans Affairs, and the U.S. Attorney's Office. She tipped off a local reporter and a viral TikTok lawyer. A video of Linda berating Tom hit the internet, racking up 1 million views by lunch. Comments burned with rage. Who evicts a vet? Linda called an emergency HOA meeting, but the room turned on her. A neighbor yelled, "Why'd you target him and not Greg's RV clogging the street?" Her gavel couldn't silence the chaos. Sarah didn't stop. She found Linda's wine cellar, bragged about in an HOA newsletter, was unpermitted, built under a public sidewalk, a ticking liability bomb. Sarah filed a county complaint anonymously. An inspector showed up at Linda's door. She screamed him off, but he left a citation. The IRS joined the fray, sniffing out fake HOA charity claims. A scholarship fund with no records, a memorial plaque that never existed. Board members bailed, some spilling secrets for immunity. One dropped off a flash drive at Sarah's rental, packed with emails about pushing out old-timers for richer buyers and Linda pocketing cash from shady contractors. Sarah read it and muttered, "This isn't just cruel, it's a racket." Tom watched from a temporary apartment, stunned as neighbors brought him casseroles and kids drew pictures of Duke. He wasn't used to this. Support, respect. Sarah got Duke back, walking into animal control with Ada paperwork so tight they didn't dare argue. When Duke leapt into Tom's arms, tail thumping, Tom's eyes glistened. It wasn't just a reunion, it was a signal. The fight wasn't over. Sarah bought the house across from the HOA office under a shell company, hung a sign, Veterans Legal Aid, free consultations. Linda, watching from her window, went pale. The HOA got a Pentagon letter demanding a discrimination review. News vans camped outside. A veteran convoy, trucks and bikes draped in flags, rolled through, silent but deafening. Linda tried a press conference, but their engines drowned her out. A viral clip showed her whining, "I regret he didn't follow rules," as jeers erupted online. The end came fast. A class action lawsuit named Linda and the HOA for fraud, harassment, and targeting disabled residents. Her wine cellar was ordered filled in. Her presidency was revoked. Funds frozen. She sold her house cheap. Description begging for a buyer. Quiet location, minor repairs. Tom returned home 60 days after the eviction. His ramp gleamed, engraved. Property of Sergeant Tom Hargrove, ADA compliant. His flag flew high. Neighbors saluted. A kid handed him a drawing of Duke guarding a sky-high flag. Sarah stood back, letting him soak it in. At a military-based ceremony, she got a medal for defending veteran rights. Tom got a standing ovation that shook the room. He leaned to her, voice thick. "Your mom would say we're even now. I carried you through war. You carried me here." Sarah's legal aid office became a beacon, chairs on its porch filled with vets swapping stories over coffee. The old HOA building sat empty, a for sale sign ignored. Rumor spread it had become a park named for Duke. Willow Creek changed. Residents talked, laughed, voted in a new board that passed the Tom rule, freeing disabled homeowners from aesthetic nonsense. Linda was gone, her name a punchline, her power dust. But Sarah kept planning, eyes on the next fight. Tom, on his porch with Duke snoring, looked at his ramp's golden words. Built back stronger, protected by family. He smiled, whispering, "Let him try again." The breeze carried his words, and for the first time in years he rested, knowing some battles end with truth winning loud. Thank you for watching Touching Story. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful tales of resilience and justice. See you in the next one.